Got it. So overheads are the trickiest issue and they need to be tackled very, very properly. Okay. Direct cost, which is there, is not to be tackled because it is easily traceable towards the cost object, right? Or towards the job or towards the process. Because how do you trace it? Based upon certain documents, which we have seen under the material and the labor. But the trickiest issue is the overheads. So I have repeated so many times, I am again repeating that overheads as such are what? Those which cannot be traced towards the product. If it is a single product industry, tracing doesn't make any sense, whether you trace it towards the product, job or process directly or indirectly. You have only one single product, job or the process. But if it is a multiple product industry and each of the product, job or processes are taking the assistance from these type of overheads, then what would you do? I gave the example of the building. The building warehouse is supplying these its services to, let us say, 3 lines of production, 3 production centers, 2 service centers. Now you need to reallocate all the building costs towards these 3 production and the service centers. How would you do? That would depend upon your financial acumen, what you do, because we are not taking actuals, we are taking the predetermined thing. So we devise a methodology that all the overheads of this particular center would be absorbed on the basis of certain cost driver. That cost driver is pre-assigned, pre-budgeted, and that is what is called the predetermined overhead rate. Okay, that is what is in a simple thing. Right now we are saying that we have divided the organization into 2 major centers. One is your production center, another is your service center. Production center actually contributing towards the production process, service center is assisting towards the production process. Both of the cost of these production and the service center has to be absorbed towards the product, and that is what we have seen under modern manufacturing limited question numerical, which we did on the slide, yes, on the previous occasion. So we will build upon that. Now today what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss another 2 major steps. One is the computation of the POHR, predetermined overhead rate, and then how we take it, absorb it towards the product, that is absorption. So these are the 2 things. So what we need to do, we have allocated the cost towards the different production and the service centers. That is what on the previous occasion we did. What we did, we followed primary distribution, we followed secondary distribution, and after that we have taken the cost towards these production, towards the production center after primary and secondary distribution, where we followed what? Proration method. So there are various methods. One is your equitable distribution, simultaneous equation, many other methods are there. We are not going in depth about that. We will follow a very simple method, that means continuous reapportionment method, what we are doing. Okay. Now after that, what is to be done? You have taken the cost and distributed between production and service center. Then what we did, we took up and absorbed the service center cost towards the production center. These are the 2 steps which we did. Now afterwards, we need to reabsorb the production center cost towards whom? Towards the product. Why it is to be done? Because we are following absorption costing principle. And what is absorption costing? That means any cost which is there has to be recovered from the product. So product is going to absorb all the costs, direct or indirect, everything. So hence we need to understand how we do absorption. Though we have done in that particular slide numerical, where we absorb the cost to the product X, okay, on the basis of POHR. which we computed. I will again show you that Excel sheet so that it is thoroughly revised in your mind. Okay. Now what is to be done? Firstly, you have to select the absorption rates. Select the absorption rates. Now, how would you select? You may have two options, whether it is a machine intensive industry or whether it is a labor intensive industry. So if it is machines are being used in major proportion, then you would naturally take machine hour rate. If the labor is intensively used in the major proportion, you will take the labor hour rate. So there are no set dictums. There are no set rules and regulations in the management accounting. You have to follow your own acumen. Only aim is to find out the real cost of the product. That is all. So most rational type of steps you need to take. Okay. So then you have to calculate the absorption rate per unit and apply the absorption rate to the various products or the job. How do you apply? Based upon the POHR, predetermined overhead rate, and that POHR is always estimated one, always budgeted one. Okay. Remember this. Now, what happens? Many companies follow different methodology to apply or absorb the overheads. Okay, because we don't have any rules, we do not have any accounting principle. Okay, so whatever the absorption base you take, it should take into consideration all the aspects of the cost being immersed for the product. Okay, so suppose many of the companies may take direct material. So what they do, factory overheads is absorbed on the basis of direct material, but in that process, what you are leaving? You are leaving indirect material, because indirect material also is contributing towards the cost. Some may take direct labor. You are leaving direct material, indirect labor. Some may take only the prime cost. Okay, then you are leaving all the indirect component. Some may take only the direct labor hour, factory overheads divided by the units of production. So if it is a machine intensive industry and you are taking this particular rate, it would be a faulty situation. But if it is a labor intensive industry, fine enough. For example, in a Star Engineering case, you must have seen that you must have allocated the overheads based upon the labor hour rate. I sincerely hope that you must have gone through that. I had given the instruction that come prepared after solving it. Okay. Machine hour rate. Some may take based upon the machine hours. If suppose it is a machine intensive industry. What I mean to say, I'm showing you all those things, but not saying that you should follow this or that or that. No, companies may follow any one of them. You may follow any one of them depending upon the case. Okay. For example, in the question number 1, modern manufacturing, we followed what? Machine hour rate, absorption rate. But in Star Engineering, suppose you have done, you have followed the labor hour. So it would depend upon the numerical or the case. The method or the absorption base which you need to follow. So I had given you this, if you remember. Now the time has come to understand it very properly. How would you absorb the cost of all the production centers towards the product? You have two options. One option is that what you have been doing earlier in your previous classes. That means you waited till the end of the accounting period and have waited for the transactions to happen, and by that time you came to know about the actual overheads, because the transactions started taking place from here to here. Actuals. All right. Now, Once you have waited for the actuals and then nothing to wait. After that, the new financial year will start. So whatever the decision you take or you want to take is not going to reap you any benefit. That means all these costs have become what? They have become some costs. Cannot be recovered. They cannot be recovered. And you have lost all your time just waiting. You cannot take corrective actions. But if you take from the beginning of the accounting period, just take the estimate, you apply the overheads and start taking action based upon what? Normal cost principle. Based upon what? Abnormal costing principle. I'm sorry, absorption costing principle. So you have two options, either to wait or start your accounting right from the very beginning, and therefore you compute what? Budgeted overheads. So now the predetermined overhead rate, how would you compute? Budgeted manufacturing overhead cost, as we did in slide problem, divided by the budgeted amount of the cost driver. For example, in slide problem, you had the cost drivers which were already given to you, which you computed and then multiplied with the actual activity. So first step is that we compute the POHR. So remember it, that numerator is estimated overheads divided by estimated units in the allocation base for the coming period. That is your POHR. So if you remember, I would show you the Excel. Okay. If you remember, we did this. This is your POHR. How we got? Estimated total overheads 9234. If you happen to revise it, we got it from here 9234, where the secondary distribution cost or the service center cost S1 and S2 was allocated to P1, P2 and P3 based upon certain proportion as given in the numerical 20s to 30, 40s to 10, 40s to 20, 30s to 10. Like that we went on. It is called a continuous reapportionment method till it became negligible, and therefore P1 had the share of 9234, which is nothing but the estimated overhead numerator. That is what we got. 9234 is the numerator. This is what we are talking about, estimated total manufacturing overhead cost. Then what we did? We computed the working hours, which is estimated given in the question 3070. Here it is given. Working hours 3070. Okay. Estimated one. So therefore, your POHR is this divided by this. B3 divided by B4. This is your predetermined overhead rate, POHR. And that is what we did. And then afterwards, this is the first step, compute the POHR. What becomes the second step? So why we computed POHR, I have already told you. It's a trade-off between accuracy and timeliness. You have two options, either to wait. If you wait, everything you get, but you are not able to take corrective actions. Okay. But if you start taking corrective actions, you proceed with the budget. That is what we do. And let us see this just to revise. So peer company applies overhead based upon the direct labor. Total estimated overhead for the entire year is 6,40,000. Estimated labor cost is 14 lakhs. Total estimated labor hour is 1,60,000. What will be the POHR? How much? Yes, Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa?
Yes, sir. So
Tell me,
just
how much? Now I should not get the response that I am doing. It is just a half a second computation.
2,040,000.
It is asking predetermined overhead rate per hour. Read it.
Okay, rate per hour. So one second.
Mr. Aman, how much? Aman, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, doing that. Just a minute.
What is this? What is to be done here? Bipul Mandal. Bipul? Gone. Very good. Naman Jain. Naman Jain?
Yes, sir.
Tell
Sir.
me.
4.
4.
1.640 divided by 160.
5. So you get 4, not 1.5. So this is what it is you will get. Okay. So PHR becomes $4 per direct labor hour. That means for each direct labor hour worked on a job, $4 of the factory overheads will be applied to the job. That means what? As we did here in this Excel, we got this PHR. This would be applied to production center 1. This would be applied to production center 2. This would be applied to production center 3. And after that, now suppose overhead is to be applied. So overhead applied is PHR into actual activity. So this will be multiplied. So overhead applied, how would you apply it? You have computed the PHR, multiplied with the actual activity. Suppose the actual activity is into 8 direct labor hours, your overhead applied is $32. So if you remember the Excel, here it is. We applied it. Direct material we did not touch, direct labor we did not touch, P1, P2 and P3. P1 applied is this into actual activity given 4, given in the question if you see 4 into B5, 10 into 0.95, that means it becomes 5 into 2.01, and P3 3 into 5.02. Okay. So this is the production overhead applied. I hope you must have gone through this numerical, and I have already shared the Excel for you. So please don't depend upon the spoon feeding. You have to revise everything. Okay. Now, what is the problem now? Problem would be that how much the overheads have been applied, how much overheads have been under applied. Now we have what we have got. We have applied the overheads $32, but whether you are sure that actual overhead is also this much applied. Because if you remember in session number 1, what we did, I said that you have two options, either to wait or start proceeding with the budget. Now, if you start proceeding with the budget, naturally the actuals would be different from the budget. It may be over and above the predetermined overhead rate, or it may be lower than that PHR. How do you take care of that? So let us see. First, remember and revise it. Firstly, compute the POHR step number 1, which we did. Annual expected budgeted manufacturing overheads divided by annual expected budgeted activity. It may be direct labor, or it may be your machine hour rate, depending upon whatever the overhead application you are taking. Okay. Step number 2, multiply the this POHR with the actual activity. So that is what we did. And we did on the previous occasion also and today also. Now, how we compute that labor hour, how we compute the machine hour rate, that we will talk later on in this session. Now, what would happen? Your actual overhead rate, if you know, then it is known only after the end of the accounting period when all the cost production figures have been collated. There may be certain problematic situation how the absorption should be done if the fire insurance premium has been paid. Whether it should have the charges to all works manufactured during the year. How do we take all those situations? Similarly, if you take the POHR, predetermined overhead rate, which we have been talking right from the previous session, then advantage is that you have a constant unit cost because there is no fluctuation. We are not depending upon the actuals. We don't have the duty to measure each and every time, go and measure the level of the evaporation and all that. We have taken the particular budget and accordingly we flow. And therefore, there is no unit cost fluctuation. Only problem is that it may lead to under absorption, it may lead to over absorption. Okay, under absorption or over absorption. By these will be the only two situations. All right, under absorption and over absorption. Either your actual overheads will be more than the POHR, or either your actual overheads will be less than the POHR. Okay, so let us see. Suppose actual overheads is 29,050, applied overhead is 28,800. That means this is based upon the POHR and this is the actual. What you have done, you have under applied the overheads because actual is this much. Now what should you do? Similarly, over applied would be the situation where the actual is less than the applied one. Here you have overstated the cost of job. Here in this case, you have understated the cost of job. Both the situations are actually dangerous. Okay, but because what is your aim? Your aim is to find out the real cost of the product. So if that is the situation, that your cost of job is overstated, cost of job is understated, how would you take decisions? So now our job is to take care of overstated overheads and understated overheads. And there are various methods which are into practice where we adjust this overstatement or understatement. But before that, let us take a very simple example. Peer company's actual overhead was 6,50,000. Total, out of the total of 1,70,000 direct labor hours, how much total overhead was applied to peer company's job during the year? Use peer company's POHR rate of $4 per direct labor hour. Not more than half a second. And give me the answer now. I'm going to ask to any one of you. Now tell me, Rajshri, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Rajshri, beta, please tell how much is the figure and whether it is overstated or understated. Doesn't require any of the practice. Okay, just see the slide and give me the answer. Aritra Saha. Aritra,
Yes, sir.
tell me.
Sir, so the applied overhead would be POHR into actual direct labor hours.
अरे भाई फिगर बताओ ना.
Okay, sir. So 4 into 1,70,000 is equal to 6,80,000.
And how much is over applied or under applied?
So, sir, it is over applied because 6,80,000 minus 6,50,000, so 30,000.
Okay. And Shanmugh, is he right?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So 6,80,000 is the applied overhead, as Aritra has told correctly. Nothing very great. आप भी कर सकते हो, बस पढ़ना है इसको. There is nothing very great. You don't require any background reading, my dear friends. आप लोग तो खुद ही टेक्निकल हो. 6,80,000. So there is over application. Aritra is right. There is over application of the overheads by how much? 30,000. 6,50,000 is the total actual overhead, and 6,80,000 is the applied overhead. So how much you have over applied? 30,000. What should the peer company do? So as I said, there are various methods. One method is that you take 30,000 directly towards the product. So two methods normally which are prevalent. One is disposition. Remember it. Please remember it, because in books you may not find. One is disposition. That means you debit the manufacturing overheads and credit the cost of goods sold by the difference. Another is proration. That means you take up the differences between WIP, finished goods, and cost of goods sold based upon certain proportion. And that is based upon the ending balance in these three accounts. And this one is more accurate. Why more accurate? I would tell you. So any difference is allocated proportionately, but yes, it is more complicated as compared to this one. So remember, we have 30,000 to be allocated. So first method we may follow, that total difference is taken to the cost of goods. That's one option. So this cost of goods sold, everybody knows, we have done about the flow of the costing. And this cost of goods sold, unless and until it is sold, it remains as an inventory, finished goods inventory. And once it is sold, it becomes the cost of sales. Okay. Another option is proration. This is disposition. Another option is proration, that this 30,000 would be bifurcated into three major heads: WIP, finished goods, and cost of goods sold, because three accounts would be there, and these three accounts, whatever the ending balance on that same ratio, it will be applied. But it is going to be complicated, because you have to compute the ratio, you have to compute the ending balance of each of the accounts, and based upon that ratio, you have to apply the adjustment on this 30,000. Okay. But this method is more superior as compared to this method. Why? Because now this question I should have asked you, but without wasting any time, I'm telling you that because once we take up the raw material does not get converted immediately into the cost of goods. The logic is this: by once you suppose it's a ketchup industry, and once you put up the tomato, are you sure that all the tomatoes which you put up in each of the different production run, you will get the finished product of ketchup? Or whatever the sugar cane which you put up in the processing in the sugar industry, how much you are sure that in each of the production run, whatever the sugar cane you are putting it, you will immediately get the cost of goods or the product? The answer is no, because once you are closing the books of accounts, some of them would be work in process, WIP. Some of them would be work in process. Some of them would be the finished goods inventory, and some of them would have been sold as the finished goods on the cost of sales. So that means what? All these three scenarios have to be taken into consideration. Okay. Now I stop for half a minute. Think over that, whatever we have discussed. If you have any doubts, please do ask me the question. Otherwise, those who don't have the doubt, start doing question number 2 of your polycopy, which I've already shared. And those who have the doubt, most welcome to ask.
Sir, out of these two methods, which one is used when?
Yes, please.
Sir, I was asking, out of these two methods, which is used when?
Again, I would comment on that it will depend upon the management which method they are having effective results. Okay. There is no set code, beta, no set standard that this method has to be used. If suppose it is a you can say small scale level of industry, so it is better to use the cost of goods sold. Or if the process of production is very short and you do not experience more in the WIP, it's better to use this method. But if it is a multiple process industry, for example, chemical industry, for example, paint industry, for example, flour industry, for example, sugar industry, you will have a lot of WIPs. So once that is the situation, it is better to use the method of proration instead of distribution. Am I okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, question number 2. Start doing. So you have a machine. So a machine costing rupees 10,000, expected to run for 10 years. We are taking the numerical question number 2 from the handout or the polycopy which I have shared. At the end of the period, its scrap value is likely to be 900. Repairs during the whole life of the machine expected to be 1800, and the machine expected to run 4380 hours per year on an average. Electricity consumption 5 units. Rate per unit 50 paise. Machine occupies 1/4 of the department area, uses 2 lights from total of 10 of the departments. Foreman devotes 1/3 of the time on machine. Monthly rent for the department is 300, lighting charges 80, foreman salary 480, insurance paid rupees 12 per annum. and the expenses on oil, lubricants, etc. is rupees 9 per month. You have to calculate the machine hour rate. Difficulty level extremely easy. Not more than 5 minutes to solve it. Please go ahead and give me the answer. Question number 2. Ankur Chaube. Ankur Chaube, are you there? Very nice. All those who are not responding, I am slowly writing
Yes,
down
sir.
names.
I'm there. I'm there, sir. I'm there.
Ankur Chaube, be prepared. After 2 minutes, I am going to ask you the question. Solve it. Then Siddharth. After that, Siddharth, be ready.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Ankur, how much?
Sir, still stuck doing it. Sir. Okay.
Then next person.
Sir, sir, I'm solving it.
Open house, anybody? Anybody who has got it? Such a simple question. Yes, Shashank Soni. Shashank Soni,
Yes, sir.
tell me.
So I'm working on the problem, sir. Still too much information.
Too much information? What do you mean?
Sir,
Yes,
is
Shashank?
the machine,
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by too much information?
So I'm just reading the question, sir. So there are too many points, sir. I'm working on the problem.
So you will get only 2-line question, my dear.
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yes, somebody was saying something.
sir, is it coming around 1.7?
Well tried, but no, my dear friend. You have to at least try, okay? Even if you get the wrong answer, that doesn't make any problem. You should try.
So 4.04.
You are very near, beta. Please revise.
So I'm not. So I'm not able to contemplate how will we divide the area. I mean, there is no parameter given for the area part, wherein they have said it occupies 1/4 of the department's area.
I
And
hope you are
minus-
doing question number 2. A machine costing rupees 10,000.
Yeah. The fourth line, sir. Machine occupies 1/4 of the department's area and uses 2 lights from the total of 10 in the department. So I'm not able to contemplate how will we do that.
Read the question once again. You need, please, that's my advice to all of my young friends, that read the question at least twice, thrice, so as to get the inner information if it is there. What about others? Yatharth, are you there? Yatharth Yadav.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Tell.
Hello?
Yes, tell me.
Hello?
I am getting you. Please tell me. Yatharth.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
Sir, is it 3.46?
Hello?
Yatharth, I am listening you. Please tell. 3.46 किसने बताया?
Sir, me,
Sir,
Gaurav.
your voice is coming very late and it's breaking. But if you are asking about the solution, I was I read the solution. I was thinking that the rent part would be that if we have to calculate, it would be somewhere around 1/4 of the total, 75. I calculated the lighting, which would be 1/5, somewhat around 16. Then foreman salary also, I think that would be 1/3, which will be 160.
Okay.
And the
It's
insurance
okay.
part
And
would be
yes, I got
think
it.
around 8.33, and in total it becomes 268. And sir, I'm solving the rest of it.
Okay. Who told 3.46? Just repeat once again.
Yes, sir, I was the one. Gaurav.
I'm not seeing you here. Gaurav Sharma.
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you saying
Alright.
anything, because your voice is breaking and coming really late for me?
Gaurav, my voice is okay or it is breaking?
No, sir, it's fine for me.
So Yatharth, you have certain mic issue. So 3.46 is absolutely right. Because rent, we take it 1/4 of 300. So those who were asking the question, please be sure 1/4 of the 300 we will take up. This is on area basis and departmental rent it is. So rupees 75. Lighting will be 1/5 of 80. That will be 16. Foreman salary will be 1/3 of 480. That will be 160. Oil and lubricant will be 9. And insurance will be 1/12 of 12. That will be 1. This becomes 261. This is based upon per month. I have taken it per month. Now let us compute the semi-variable expenditure per annum. Depreciation is how much? Where the cost of machine is given 10,000. Your scrap is 900. This becomes 9,100. Your life of the machine is 10. This becomes 910. Okay. Then repairs. Repairs for whole life is given 1,800. Life of the machine is 10. So this becomes 180. This becomes 1090. So we have computed the semi-variable expenditure per annum. Okay. So I have bifurcated into fixed and semi-variable. You can do it consolidatedly. There is no problem on that. Now variable expenses per hour. Now we are taking per hour. Electricity it is. Electricity is being consumed at the rate of 0.5 units at the rate of 0.50. So this becomes rupees 2.5 hours per charge. So now if we compute the machine hour rate, this will be 261 because it is yearly we have taken here 261. So 261 multiplied by 12. Okay. Plus 1090. This is per annum we have taken. Okay. So 1090 divided by your expected run, which is given in the question 4380, and plus your electricity 2.5. This is hourly basis. So once we convert it, we get 0.9639 plus 2.5, 3.46. Gaurav was absolutely right. Any doubts? Just note it down quickly. So we have finished question number 1, question number 2. Tomorrow come prepared after doing question number 3. The answer should come to 36. Please note it down. Question number 3, the answer should come to 36. We will have the discussion on star engineering case, and be ready with the case which we have already given. That case I have told you in the class. Be ready with the presentation. Is the CR here? Class CR.
Yes, sir.
So please make sure that everyone is ready with the star engineering case, and everyone come prepared with the case number 1 of your polycopy, which I have already shared. The case is I think
Gibson case.
Yeah, Gibson case. Be ready with this, and group number 1 has to make the presentation on Gibson case. I can ask you, any one of you, the question. Be ready with that. So CR, please ensure that everyone is ready. Okay. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.